This Zoom session is being brought to you by the fractal Bullseye Water. All right. For today, we go over the section 3.3 about solving trigonometric equations. Equations such as sine x equals a for what x, cos x equals a for what x, tangent x equals a for what x. Okay, that's a standard thing in math. You define a function and try and solve equations involving the function. So sine x equals a. Well, here's a graph of sine x. Here's a graph of y equals a. You see that it meets up with a curve on pairs of points, points separated by 2 pi, one full rotation. So here's another, it'd be another set, here's a set, here's a set, here'd be another set, and so on. 2 pi times an integer, because that means one full rotation, and one full rotation always gets you back to the same sines and cosines. All right, now, equation solutions such as this will have an answer arc sine, and then plus 2 and pi. This one is the same distance back from pi here as this is out from pi. So this solution is in the form pi minus arc sine a. So you have solutions either arc sine a plus 2 pi n, or pi minus arc sine a plus 2 pi n for n a whole number. Cosine x equals a, well, again, you can see it appearing at pairs of points. This pair here, another pair here, another 2 pi up, another pair here, 2 pi down, and so on. All right, and this solution here is of the form arc cosine. This one here is its opposite, minus arc cosine of a. So solutions are arc cosine a plus an integer multiple of 2 pi, or minus arc cosine a plus an integer multiple of 2 pi. Tangent x equals a. Here's the graph of tangent. Here's the graph of y equals a. Here you don't have these pairs of points, you just have a single point, and instead of being separated by multiples of 2 pi, they're separated by multiples of pi, because adding pi radians, i.e. 180 degrees, gets to the same slope and the same tangent. So this solution will be arctan a, and then these are arctan a plus pi times an integer. So these are the solutions for various trig equations. And of course, if you can, any equation you can turn into a sine equals something, cosine equals something, or tangent equals something, you can then solve like this. So for example, here, let's solve for theta between 0 and 2 pi. So we'll skip the 2 pi n part. And 2 sine theta plus 1 equals 0. Okay, first we do a bit of algebra. 2 sine theta equals -1. Sine theta equals -1/2. Now, one way to solve this is by drawing the unit circle. Here's a unit circle. You go down a distance minus a half. Draw a horizontal line, and this will meet the circle at wherever you at the values of theta were with a sign of -1/2. So here's a solution, this rotation, and here's a solution, this rotation here. This is what I call a breakback angle. This is what I call a Pac-Man angle. Now, all right, this triangle here has sides 1/2 and 1, and the third side by Pythagoras is √3/2, and this angle here is 60 degrees, aka pi/3. So, all right, so theta will be first this 90-degree angle, or so 270-degree angle, 3/2 pi, plus or minus pi/3, either this angle here or this angle here. So this 270 degrees minus 60 degrees or plus 60 degrees. 3/2 pi plus or minus pi thirds. And after a bit of arithmetic, that's going to be 7 pi/3 or 11 pi. So 7 pi over 6 or 11 pi over 6. I goofed twice there. I get hard. All right, fine. 7 pi over 6 or 11 pi over 6. That'd be something like 210 degrees and 330 degrees. Okay, here. 4 secant theta plus 6 equals -2. Solve on 0 to 2 pi. So in the unit circle, we'll forget about the repeated roots. Okay, first we transpose a 6, subtract 6, get 4 secant theta equals -8. Divide by 4, secant theta equals -2. Take reciprocal, so cosine theta equals -1/2. All right, so you go back 1/2, draw a vertical line, and these are the angles whose cosine is -1/2. So once again, we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle here, and it'll be, so the angle will be 180 degrees like this, plus or minus 60 degrees, pi over 3. So pi plus or minus pi over 3 is the solution. That's 2/3 pi or 4/3 pi. I guess that'd be 180 or 240 degrees. Those are the solutions on 0 to 2 pi. Of course, you could take these and add integer multiples of 2 pi for the general solution. 4 cos squared plus 1 equals 0. Solve on the unit circle. All right, first divide by 4. Cos squared theta equals 1/4. Take square roots. Cos theta equals plus or minus 1/2. And we have a plus or minus happening here, so that complicates things a bit. All right, so you have go plus 1/2 here, or minus 1/2. Draw vertical lines, and this, and this are the angles with cosine equal to plus or minus 1/2. And as before, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This is 60 degrees, pi thirds radians here, and this is pi thirds, and this is pi thirds, and this is pi thirds. So you either have pi thirds radians or 180 minus pi thirds, which is 2 pi thirds, or pi plus pi thirds, 4 pi thirds, or 2 pi minus pi thirds, which is 5 pi over 3. 1/3 pi, 2/3 pi, 4/3 pi, and 5/3 pi are the solutions to this. Here we have 4 sine squared minus 1 equals 0. All right, solve. 2 sine squared equals 1, sine squared equals 1/2. Sine theta equals plus or minus 1 over root 2. All right, so go up or down 1 over root 2, draw a horizontal line. And this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle are the angles which solve this equation. Now, all right, 1 over root 2, that's a 45, 45 triangle. Isosceles right triangle. So this angle is pi over 4. All right. This angle is pi minus pi over 4, 3 pi over 4. This angle here is pi plus pi over 4, or 5 pi over 4. And this angle here is 2 pi minus pi over 4, or 7 pi over 4. So 1/4 pi, 3/4 pi, 5/4 pi, and 7/4 pi are the solutions. Now here things are a little more complicated. Solve cosine of 2 theta equals minus 1/2, both on the unit circle and for all theta. Now this gets a little complicated because of this 2 here. We have to actually look at the general solution to make it work right. Cosine 2 theta equals minus 1/2. So 2 theta is arc cosine, of negative half plus 2 pi n. And that'll be 2 theta equals plus or minus 2/3 pi plus 2 pi n. Now I have to add in the 2 pi n because now we have to divide by 2 and we get a pi n here. And it looks like the general thing. So pi is plus or minus 2/3 pi plus pi n. All right. So here's pi thirds, there's a solution, plus 1 more pi is 4/3 pi. Here's 2/3 pi plus another pi thirds, it's 5 pi thirds. So pi thirds, 2 pi thirds, 4 pi thirds, 5 pi thirds on the unit circle, and it's plus or minus pi thirds plus pi n in general. Here we have 2 sine squared minus sine minus 1 equals 0. So this is a quadratic in a sine. So first we have to solve a quadratic. We start by factoring this quadratic and get 2 sine theta plus 1 times sine theta minus 1 is 0. So either 2 sine theta is 1, which means that sine is negative 1/2, or sine minus 1 is 0, so sine equals plus 1. So you go up 1 and draw the horizontal line, or go down 1 and draw that horizontal line. And this has an angle of pi over 2, 90 degrees. That's one solution. Here we have our 30, 60, 90 triangles here and here. So this will be pi plus pi over 6. That's 7 pi over 6. And here we have 2 pi minus pi over 6 is 11 pi over 6. And those are solutions on the unit circle, and add integer multiples of 2 pi for the general solution.